During World War II, a young aviator and his crew were tasked with patrolling the English Channel, looking for German subs. His job was to read the charts and be the navigator for his crew. One weekend, he was on pass and he visited some of his buddies in the Royal Air Force. They were heading out to do a bombing run over France, and they were short a navigator. So this young aviator accepted their invitation to accompany them on their mission. After the mission, he realized his mistake. If he would have been shot down over enemy territory, he would have been AWOL because his commander had no idea he was flying with the RAF. The story you just heard is a true story. The young aviator, that was my grandfather. After the war, my grandfather would take trips back to England, back to that base, and share these memories with the men he flew with. If we look closely into the Bible, we can see and hear testimonies of people who lived the events of the Bible. 2 Peter 1:16 says, "For we did not follow cleverly devised myths when we made known to you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, but we were eyewitnesses of his majesty." Peter claims here that he used his 5 senses to experience what he wrote about. So we have one eyewitness account. Big deal. But have you ever stopped to think, why are there multiple Gospels? The books of Matthew, Mark, and Luke are called the Synoptic Gospels. They give 3 accounts of the life of Christ. This is like seeing something in 3D. You get a fuller picture of what actually happened. Now, Luke was a doctor and a historian. He does not claim to be an eyewitness, but he states in Luke chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, he investigated the claims of the eyewitnesses, researched the facts carefully, and composed a point-to-point account of the information. The Apostle Paul wrote that he saw Jesus alive after his death. He wrote that there were over 500 witnesses who saw the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Most of them at that time were still alive and could verify the facts. Now, don't forget that before this, Paul was not convinced. In fact, he was trying to eliminate the Christians who were saying Jesus was alive. Now, the Apostle Paul went from trying to stop Christianity to seeing Jesus for himself and becoming one of the greatest advocates for Christ. The Apostle Thomas got the nickname Doubting Thomas because he didn't believe that Jesus was alive after he watched Jesus die. Thomas said he needed to see and touch before he would believe that Jesus was alive. In John chapter 20, Thomas sees Jesus, and Thomas is so convinced that what he saw was real that he eventually died for his faith. Eyewitness testimony is historically among the most convincing forms of evidence in a criminal trial. My grandfather's account of his service is compelling, and there are others who flew with him who could authenticate his story because they saw what he saw. I could go to Dunkwell, England, and walk in my grandfather's footsteps and see the airfield where he lived during World War II. Now, I don't believe the Bible because it is an isolated revelation from a deity, or just because it's a good set of rules to live by. Theologian Vodi Bakum states, "I believe the Bible because it is a reliable collection of historical documents written by eyewitnesses during the lifetime of other eyewitnesses."